I'm resuming my video blogs, and this is the first one I've done in ages. And my intention is to connect in new ways, and perhaps connect with people I know, but just sort of have been missing a bit in my life, and want to sort of just let everyone know I'm here and tell you a bit where I'm at. And a lot of the times when I'm coming on social media, I'm posting my music, I'm posting about gigs, and I want to kind of show up on a personal level a bit more too. And I like the idea of video. I think it's like a lot of bang for your buck if I'm going to spend more time on Facebook than I already do, and social media, then I want to kind of make the most of it. And lately I've been also commenting on other people's posts, so keep posting away if you're seeing my comments. And if you're not seeing my comments, well, if there's anything you think I might be interested in, then feel free to let me know, and I'll check out your posts as well. So yeah, thanks for watching this so far. It's my first video blog. It's getting me out of my comfort zone. I have an idea about what I want to talk about. I don't have a script. I don't really like using a script. I like to be able to be free to talk in real time and kind of have the nuances of finding my way as I go. I think it keeps it interesting for me, and hopefully for you too. So the main thing I want to talk about today is setting the course and embracing the waves. And this has just sort of come up as like maybe a first idea for me to talk about, and I'm going to relate to my life a bit and my work. I think when I started working as a full-time engineer, my first full-time job, I had part-time jobs before that. I found as an engineer, it was probably a bit too close to home. I grew up in a very intellectual kind of culture, and friends, family, engineering was probably something that was understood in my circles of people. And it was very intellectual. And, a lot of my family had, not all engineers, but had done sort of pursued work that was quite intellectual too. And, I suppose on some level I was doing what was understood, what I could understand and have my family's understanding. I think I got to a point where my creative side started to come through more, and I think there was room for a bit of creativity in engineering, and that's probably why I did sort of go towards that, because at one point I was considering science, and I could see that engineering included some design, and that sort of did show up in my work at certain times, and I was able to sort of enjoy that a bit more than some of the other work I did. But a lot of the work I was doing was quality control. It was like checking plans and specifications and making sure they met safety requirements, and for things like gas appliances and things like that, things that were being sold in Australia. Just sort of I think when I left that job, what I missed the most was the community aspect of like having some really good colleagues to work with. But I didn't miss the work that much. I didn't really miss being an engineer. And even though friends and family would ask me, hey, you've always got engineering if you need it, I didn't really like hearing about that, because I didn't really want to go back, honestly, and I still don't. And so what sort of sparked me to leave? Couple of things. I would say I noticed a creative side coming through in my band. I began to write songs in a band called Black Fuel, which some of you may know I've been a part of over the years. And when I sort of realized how much I enjoyed writing songs, something just was pulling me in that direction. And even when I was going to work, I had these songs playing in my head, and I couldn't switch them off, and it was distracting me from being an engineer. And you know, engineering is a pretty full-on thing by itself. It's not something I wanted to do while my mind was somewhere else. And another thing was I sort of reached a point in my life where I couldn't. I think it was a bit of a low point with my health and also my relationships, and just realizing that I needed to figure out some things and turn my life around. And I had a mentor that helped me sort of believe in myself that I could create a career in music. And initially that meant being a guitar teacher. And I'd actually been a part-time guitar teacher while I was studying engineering at uni, and I'd sort of enjoyed it. So I thought, yeah, I can do a bit of this. And I knew it was a step closer to being a musician as well. And if I was teaching music, I was learning music. And so I did that for another 7 years or so. And then, and I learned a lot about how to earn a living and be my own boss and sell myself, sell my work to people, and sell a service to people. And I think that was a really good skill for me to learn. And also just developing personal connections with my clients, and keeping them happy on a personal level was important, so that they were also happy on a professional level. And again, like, it got to a point after a few years where I suppose my things dwindled a bit. My drive to be a teacher dwindled. I'd reached a high point, and then I started to come down to a lower point. And I felt like, maybe it was time to move on. And I remember sort of thinking, I really want to be a professional musician. That's really what I've wanted to do for a while, and I've perhaps struggled to believe in myself, struggled to communicate that. And so, funnily enough, 6 months before the pandemic, I pretty much finished up as a teacher, and I moved out of my folks' place because I'd moved back with them for a while. I moved out of there, and I started from scratch as a performing musician. I had done performing in the past over the years, but I hadn't done it as a full-time job. So it was kind of like diving in, and it was exciting and scary at the same time. And I was trying to make a living and just get this career up and running. And I sort of, again, I think I enjoyed my teaching, but I think I needed a break from it. I think it had sort of run its course. So I also feel like it was a bit of a buffer to fall back on, because I was doing gigs while I was teaching. But after there would be times when I would just go, I'll just get more students and I don't need to do as many gigs. And once I finished teaching and I decided I was going to be a full-time musician, I pretty much did need to do more and more gigs. And it got to a point where I was doing maybe 5 a week, and then COVID hit, and I'm sure you can imagine that changed very quickly. So coming over to this year, I'm gradually getting back to those 5 gigs a week. And I'm finding that not every week I want to do 5 gigs, because I do have other interests in my life, my social life, my relationships, and also other interests, writing poetry. And I like watching movies and just having downtime, going for walks. I've just started getting back into exercise. And there's been a couple of times this year where, like, going from a pretty quiet time, the second half of last year especially, to busy times again, I've almost burnt out pretty quickly at times. And particularly doing a lot of solo gigs, it's kind of, I'm sure other musicians can attest that, there's a lot that goes into that, on an emotional level, on a physical level, on a logistical level, traveling, and then a promotional level. And even though you probably see me promoting all my music on Facebook, sometimes I just don't even have time to promote all my gigs, and there's plenty of gigs I'm doing that I don't even advertise. And I don't want to just be using Facebook just for advertising gigs. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these videos. I want to connect in other ways, and yeah, I'm enjoying also bringing my compositions forward. I think I've got myself out there playing covers, because basically starting again this year, being a performing artist, after nearly a year off, and kind of taking the gigs that are available, and happy to do covers. And having said that, I've noticed that on a spiritual level, it's important for me to bring my original compositions forward, and yeah, so I've been doing that. And I'm excited about my band, the Chris Vincent Band. By the way, I'm using Chris Vincent as my new name and stage name. And I will be updating my Facebook to reflect, my personal page to reflect my change of name. And also it's less confusing if I've got Chris Vincent, personal Chris Vincent musician page, it's all me. So just sort of like, it's been a bit of a crazy year in a different way to last year. Just getting myself up and running and trying to work out a balance again, I'm sort of pushing, but not pushing too hard if I can help it. Because I don't want to burn out. And I'm looking at doing some duo gigs and band gigs, and I'm really excited about them. I think they'll be a good addition to my solo gigs, because I've sort of, I'm finding my solo gigs are, they're still daunting. They're still full on. There's on a number of levels. And I like the idea of balancing that with duo gigs and band gigs, and having people to come along with me and work with me. Because sometimes I'll drive, an hour and a half away, and I'll be in a room with no one, I don't know a soul, and and I've got to sing for 4 hours, and and play guitar for 4 hours, and I play by ear, I sing from memory, and I don't read music, so I have to remember a lot, and it does get a bit scary. Driving to the gig sometimes, going, geez, what music are they going to like? What music am I going to remember? What am I going to be in the mood for? I need to sort of honor my moods a bit when I'm performing, and read the room and sort of feel where the energy's at with everyone else. And, I don't really enjoy just forcing songs just because it might be on the set list. If it's not the right vibe, I'll try and find a song that is a better more suited to the present moment and the environment. So it's kind of like, it has been full on. And fortunately I've got some really interesting and amazing people in my life who are a support, friends and family, among others. And I've had some great mentors. I've had some really some relationships that have been very fulfilling on a number of levels and important. I wouldn't be where I am without all those people. And there's a lot of gratitude there. I'm just realizing I think I'm getting to about 15 minutes in. So I'm going to quickly come back to my original idea of heading out to setting a course and embracing the waves. So I think when I was an engineer and a guitar teacher even, maybe the waves weren't as high or as low, and maybe I was sort of just circling around closer to shore, closer to the known. And then of course making the decision to be a full-time musician, and of course going through the whole pandemic time and figuring out what to do during then, as I'm sure many of you have done. We had to adapt and sort of do what we could do with regards to continuing what makes us happy. And anyway, I think with being a full-time musician, I sort of equate that with setting a course sort of out in the ocean and sort of moving, taking my ship, my boat, whatever is the right analogy. It doesn't really matter. I'm not really, funnily enough, I don't really get out on boats and ships that much. I'm more of a motorbike person, more of a dirt bike sort of guy. But I like this analogy anyway. And I'm sure some of you are into boating and sailing and all that stuff. So this is, hopefully you enjoy this too. Heading out to the ocean, and just riding the waves. The waves get bigger, there's bigger ups and downs, because, I care about it. It means more when I'm doing what I really want to do, and sort of, facing those unknowns, and wondering, how am I going to go doing what I want to do? There's times there's moments when I can really feel the reward. Things are going great. And I'm having I'm buzzing the next day. And then there's other moments when I'm an emotional mess, or I'm a bit lost, or I'm self-sabotaging, or as I have over the years, all those things have come up at times, and there is a way through them, and I'm determined to find a way. And I set a course. My course is important, and it's also important to embrace those highs and lows, because the more I set my course being what I really want, there's going to be bigger waves, because it's my path of, I suppose, coming into wholeness and being all of who I can be, is also going to require the most energy to actuate and realize that. And it is going to be an adventure. And I'm not circling around near the shore sort of pretending I'm doing what I want anymore. I'm actually doing what I want, and also finding that it's scary sometimes, and I question, is this what I want? And that's why it's important to set that course and sort of set a sort of a big picture idea of, this is where, this is where I'm heading. And even though I'm doing, a bit of my crooner show and a bit of my instrumental rock and a bit of my covers and, my singer-songwriter stuff, it's all sort of supporting me, and it's all an aspect of my creativity and an aspect of me. And, it starts to find its way and sort of be able to show up more easily in my life. And I can see how that it is also bringing me towards other people in my life that are enjoying what I'm doing and connecting to what I'm doing. And 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 particularly this year, I'm really being able to get out and be in a room and sort of connect with people in that way, which, there's no, as much as I love to be able to share digitally and post my music online, there's no substitute for just live music. It's fantastic. And being in a room with people, and particularly when we can find that common ground, that connection, and it's a great experience. And it's kind of where my path is continues to sort of, I continue to be called onto that path. And if I find myself thinking I'm derailing or swaying too far off course, I will and even getting confused about, is this what I really want to do? I find that it still is, and I've got these bigger picture goals that sort of pop up again and go, I can see how I'm progressing with those, and I can see how they're actually connected in some way too. And so I think that's a good starting point for me with this video blogging. I think I've been talking for 20 minutes or so. So if you've stayed with me for this time, I appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed it. It's definitely been liberating for me to get onto social media in this way. Let me know what you think, and if you got any questions or feedback. And also, I plan on continuing these videos, so let me know if you're interested in watching more of them, and if you've got any other ideas, for anything that you might want to put forward for future videos or anything. I'll see if I can take those on board, and we'll see what comes up in my next video. And for now, I hope you are enjoying your weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. And and I appreciate you checking out my music all the same. If you're looking for more of my music, it is at Chris Vincent Musician. That's where I post most of it. And also you can look me up on YouTube. So they're the main two locations. It's good to be here in this way. And I'll see you again soon. Okay, cheers.